John Jansen will be getting on that big bird coming up around 3 o'clock this afternoon and flying to the great state of New Jersey, the home of Frank Sinatra, Vince Lombardi, Bruce Springsteen, John Bon Jovi, among others. Rutgers University, the State University of New Jersey.
Scarlet Knights.
In beautiful Piscataway.
Yes.
Definitely a staple in the Big Ten.
The birthplace of college football.
Yes.
It has since passed there as well.
I believe Michigan beat Rutgers in the Final Four in 1976. I know they were in there. I forgot if Michigan played UCLA first or Michigan played Rutgers.
That is true. They played Rutgers. More Stoney believes.
Yes. With Phil Sellers and Mike Dabney and Eddie Jordan. Rutgers was a good team. Anyway.
I love Stoney believe because then you could just say anything after that.
Yeah.
And, well, I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, exactly. It's my caveat, so to speak. I've never been to a game at Rutgers. I've never been on their campus. The rack where they play their basketball games seems like a very rowdy place when it's packed.
Sure.
And I've seen on television, there have been a couple of times, I remember before they were even in the Big Ten, that Thursday night game where they beat Louisville and they charged the field. It was a big upset and all that. They stormed the field. Under Greg Schiano's first term there, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, I was there when Rutgers got their first Big Ten win.
Oh, over Brady Hoke's club.
Yes, and both people in the stands rushed the field.
There will be, I'm not joking, I'd say 65% Michigan fans tomorrow.
It typically is that way because there's a large contingent of alumni in the New York area, New Jersey area.
Marissa Grace Stone will be there with her college roommates.
All right, sounds good. Tell her to come by and say hi. And
I will try.
And it's the same thing when Michigan goes to Maryland. It's Michigan is just a program that travels well. They don't have to really travel well because again, there is a local population of Michigan fans and alumni in both of those communities.
Yes. So you've been there. Is this the worst place to watch a game?
It's by far the worst place. And
the stadium's bad too?
Yeah, I mean, the stadium's not bad per se. It's just that there's not much of a campus because of where it's located. And it's, what is it? It's SHI Stadium. She Stadium. She Stadium.
Shit, because it looks like a piece of shit.
Yeah. And so it's in the Big Ten, and it's not even close. The worst campus and stadium experience to go to, because when you go to a college worst environment, worst everything about it, and it has nothing to like. I mean, they're fans. I mean, they may be good fans. I don't know. They don't. There's not a lot of them there, but it's when you go to Bloomington, which we did earlier, you go to the campus, you walk around, there's great places to eat, the stadium is close, you can walk to it, it's all right there. The same thing in West Lafayette, the same thing in a lot of the Big Ten towns, all of the Big Ten towns, except one, Rutgers.
So how far is the stadium from the campus?
Well, I'm not really sure where their campus is because it's kind of dotted. Right, it's throughout some of the city that's around it, and there's just not a campus feel there.
Okay,
is what I'm getting at. And so when you're going to college football games, you want the whole weekend experience. If you're leaving hometown and you're going somewhere else, you want that entire college experience of being able to see what it's like on another college campus. You don't get that when you go to Rutgers, and in the NFL. Yeah, maybe you want the city experience. You go to Chicago, you want to get some pizza, whatever you want to do, and you go to the game. But it's not, it's different than it is in college. So my question to you is, and to all of our listeners, what's the worst experience of an away game that you've been to? What's the worst, either worst stadium, worst city, worst travel experience where you've gone to see a game outside of your quote-unquote hometown?
248-539-9797. Off the top of my head, here's mine. And I had a great time when I was there. I've been there twice, okay? But the stadium just sucks. And that's where the White Sox play. I don't even know what's called, guaranteed rate field now these days. I don't know.
The new Comiskey?
It's awful. It is just awful.
It's right off the highway, too, isn't it?
No,
yeah, you could see that. You could see it from the highway.
It's the south side of Chicago.
Yeah, it's I've driven past it a couple times.
It sucks. I mean, we had a great time when we were there. We went as a show about 7-8 years ago.
Does it
suck? I went there with a friend of mine once too. I mean, it's just bad.
Well, does it feel like it sucks because of what's on the other side of town, Wrigleyville?
No, because I've never been to a game at Wrigley.
You haven't?
I've been to a concert at Wrigley.
You haven't been to a game?
No.
Michael Stone hasn't been to a game at Wrigley?
Wrigley and Lambeau are my two biggest
Oh, man.
omissions, put it that way, in my
missed
repertoire,
opportunities
yes.
to this point.
Well, the worst that I missed, and I did have a chance, was and it ended up being a historic game, and was the last time the Red Wings played at the Montreal Forum. I never was there. I've been to Chicago Stadium. I've been to Maple Leaf Gardens. Anyway.
Yeah. Wow, you've got to get to Wrigley.
I know. Well, I've been there for a concert. It's cool. So you walk against the ivy and all that. So I understand.
The ambiance of baseball is different than a concert.
But yeah, guaranteed rate field, the new Comiskey, whatever the U.S. Cellular, whatever the hell was called back when it's open. It's awful. No matter what you think of Comerica, it's twice as bad as Comerica. There's just you're far away from the field.
Yeah.
It's antiseptic. It sucks.
Yeah. See, when I went to Lambeau as a player, it was when it was all under construction. So I haven't seen it since it's been newly, refurbished. But inside the bowl it's as historic as you would think.
I'll tell you what else pretty much is not a really good experience is where you used to play.
Washington?
FedEx Field or whatever.
It's terrible.
It's awful.
It's terrible.
I mean, because there's no easy way to get there. The traffic sucks. It's like it's awful.
It's surrounded by gigantic parking lots,
Yes.
Yet no one really tailgates, even when they were selling out with the hometown fans.
Right.
There's just no atmosphere of, okay, we're getting ready for an NFL game. You think about Buffalo and the Bills Mafia, and you see all of that, and we talk about Lambeau, and you're driving through this neighborhood, you're seeing people tailgating in their front yards. You couldn't have two opposite scenarios or settings.
It fits the owner.
The stadium was there before the owner.
No, I understand that, but you could see Daniel Snyder's not a guy you think is going to hang out and tailgate.
No.
Right.
No. His chopper, it would land, and they would actually take up numerous parking spots in the players' lot. Yeah. And so there was actually, some staff that had to park outside of the players' lot because the chopper had to land. All
right, 248-539-9797. What's your worst road environment, basically, to go see your team play? Or if you're just there to see any game, whether it's your team or not?
Yeah. I mean, stadium, city,
arena,
whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that I was not a fan of. See, I've been able to play in some really cool stadiums, like Three Rivers, before it went down.
Really?
Because and this one was because of the ambiance.
Because of the fans. Because Three Rivers was built the same time as like Riverfront Stadium and the Veterans Stadium in Philly, and they're all the same.
So there's one for you. The one that I hated to play in?
The Vet.
Because the field was terrible.
Right, I understand that.
It was awful.
Yeah.
And just getting in and out of there was tough.
See, Stoney, your Three Rivers experience, like for me, we had great seats when I went to the Lions game in '95. So it didn't. I can see if you were sitting way up there because it was just huge.
Right. Those three, more for base. Those three stadiums were identical: Riverfront, Veterans Stadium, and Three Rivers. They were all the same, and there was nothing special about them. But
that's why I went with you to the White Sox. Didn't you go too? I thought Greg went with us.
I don't remember. I know I was talking about John Abraham getting cut or whatever, but yes.
So, it was just built at the wrong time. It was built in the early 90s.
Right.
It was a terrible time to build a stadium because a lot of innovations hadn't been put in place. They were like right after that.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to go see Eastern Michigan hoops once in the RCA Dome. We had great seats, but in general, it was a dump.
Right. For basketball, yeah.
Yes, it was awful.
For football, it's probably
But I saw, my school beat Duke.
Yeah.
And I saw Princeton beat UCLA, so who cares?
Oh, exactly. Well, the whole NCAA tournaments and domes is just awful anyway, no matter what the dome is. It was bad when it was here, too.